And we're on. So this is how it's going to work. Welcome, Aaron. Welcome, everybody. We're still waiting for Pasha to join. Scott Hansen was going to join us today, but he has the flu. So right now, Howard, it's just you and me. And I got to tell you, you guys are in for a treat. This guy is something else. Let me just tell you who he is so you know who I'm talking to. I have to look at my notes here. I met Howard, well, through Facebook. We had a lot of people in common. And Howard, in my eyes, is he's an exceptional coach, but he's a genius when it comes to Facebook ads. And he's a social media advertising expert and speaker. And I like to look at him as a Facebook ad expert. I don't love Facebook ads at all. Hey, John. So I'm glad to have you. And just for those of you that don't know me, and you're here for the first time, my name is Jolene Moody. I'm a professional keynote speaker. And what I do when I'm not on stage speaking is I help people like you find and create paid opportunities so you can grow your business. Pasha!
Hey!
Woohoo! You're here! Hey, welcome.
Yeah, thank you so much. I had some issues. It wouldn't log on in Safari for some reason.
Yeah, this is a learning curve. Blab's a learning curve. That's why usually I ask guests, try to do it 5 minutes, but even that can be 5 minutes beforehand. Yeah. Hey, Scott, may not be enough. But Pasha comes in perfect timing because I just introduced Howard. Pasha is a personal development practitioner and empowerment speaker. I love that. Diversity and inclusion specialist. This basically, we lost Howard. He'll pop back in. Both of you are speakers and coaches.
Okay.
And I think it's synonymous that most speakers are coaches or coaches are speakers. And what I wanted to talk about today particularly was, can you have one without the other? And Pasha, because you're the only one here right now, we're going to start with you. And here's what I mean. It's not unusual to find coaches that speak regularly at conferences or large business events, right? In fact, it's pretty common. That's what I do. But some speakers use coaching to support their income until speaking really takes off. Is that your story? How did you manage to become both?
Well, for me, I started off speaking first by accident, kind of, and I knew it was my purpose and I have a passion for it. But coaching is that thing where I can actually sit down with those in the audience and help them, because it's one thing to encourage them and empower them from the stage, right? But I want to continue that walk. So those that I connect with or those that connect with me, I want to continue that walk with them so that I can see them develop. Because once you leave that stage, you don't know what happens unless someone emails you or writes to you. But I like to just it's a passion for me to have that and to see that through.
So you were a speaker first.
I became a speaker first by someone calling me up that I was working for, that I had interned for in fashion. And someone couldn't make it to an event, which was with the WNBA, to go speak to them on business development.
Nice.
Yeah, right? Right. She gave me a call.
Wow, that
big. Was huge. I came to New York a couple of years ago. I'll make my story short. And I was interning in my 30s for someone who was an elite athlete wardrobe stylist. So I bothered them until someone said, yeah, come on. And when I finished interning, she didn't hire me. But 2 months later, she called me and said, hey, can you show up to a job? I have a job for you. And I don't know why I didn't think of you. And I was like, okay, what is it? And she said, well, I want you to speak at the WNBA draft. And I was like, did she know I'm not a speaker? That I'm a wardrobe stylist, but I have a background in basketball. I played all my life. I played at University of Memphis and semi-pro. And she felt like I was a perfect fit because of my aesthetic as well. So that's how I began to speak.
Was that insane? Was that something like you thought, oh my God, now I have to put a talk together? Were you ready for it? Talk to me a little bit about that.
I don't know if you're ever quite ready.
Yeah.
Right? I don't think that you're ever quite ready. I think you can prepare, but the thing about it is you have to go with the flow of the room. I can have all these things lined up in this strategy or what have you in this talk, but usually I go with the flow of the room, and that's pretty much what I did that day, and it's just been going ever since.
Yeah. So it was an option, and you probably didn't get paid for it. And the reason that I ask is because anytime you ever see me do a blab or you've read any of my blogs, I tend to generalize speaking into two categories: keynote speaking, where you get paid a chunk of money, and then conference or platform speaking, where we as business owners speak, we don't get paid, but there is a room full of our potential client. When you were up there speaking, what made you decide, man, I want to do this more?
Well, the feedback that I got from the audience, and another speaker that was there, her name is Mickey Taylor. She's the editor at large at Essence magazine for the fashion portion of Essence. And she gave me rave reviews, and I was like, well, ma'am, I don't even remember what I said. I was so terrified. And then a friend of mine who is a VP of personal development, player development in the NBA, asked me to come speak at her church because she had heard some things from the WNBA. And when I finished, she was like, this is your calling. But I did get paid. I did get paid for that, actually.
Good for you. Good for you. So is that what you seek now, Pasha, is paid speaking, or do you enjoy doing the platform speaking? And when you do it, are you selling your coaching?
I enjoy doing it. So whether I'm getting paid or not, I want to speak, because my mission in life is to empower others by sharing my story, sharing my experiences. So hopefully in that audience, I find someone who is a client who I can work with. And I do sell my consulting from the stage or in the room, depending on where I'm speaking, because I do some volunteer speaking as well with people who can't afford my services. So it's just me giving back to the community.
Yeah. So I want to ask these questions of Howard too, and he's up there. I see his little head up there, but he's not able to get into the room. Wait, he's trying again. He's been trying. If he doesn't pop up, I'm diving into the screen to go get him.
Welcome back.
We're asking you questions right now.
I know, right?
So you probably didn't get the opportunity, maybe you did, to hear any of Pasha's feedback or questions. Genergy was just asking if you're in Chrome. Yeah, Pasha, you said, let's clear this up right now. What is the best browser that we should be looking at Blab in? Does anybody have that answer? Because that's going to be something, Chrome, that's what I'm in. So
I'm in Firefox.
You are in big trouble, mister. No, I just learned this just literally 2.7 seconds ago, so it's all good. So Howard, Pasha and I were just chatting, and she talked about her first speaking experience. It was at the WNBA, which is just huge. I mean, I think that's a huge credential. That's a beautiful credential to have on a website, or to tell people, oh, I spoke there. See, we lost him. Oh, can you hear us? Your audio only. Oh, he's done.
I think he's going to switch to
he's going to go to Chrome, or we're all going to throw apples at him.
Oh, boy. Come on, Howard.
Yeah. So, Pasha, so you have these opportunities to speak. Here's a question that I get a lot from people. And let me preface first. My coach, my business coach who coached me, and I worked with him for a long time, and he taught me how to make money in my business, is not certified with anybody. He was working in finance. He worked, I think, at a company like Paychex or something like that for years and years and years and years. So he learned how to sell. Then he discovered this land of entrepreneurship, how to be a coach. He became a coach, a very successful coach, but is not certified. I have a certification through Robbins-Madonna Strategic Intervention. I have an opinion on whether or not a certification is necessary. My opinion is, if you know your stuff and you speak from your heart, that maybe not. And people are probably going to throw apples at me. But but that's just the way I feel. How do you feel about it? Is someone able to coach or teach what they speak on? And by the way, we're not certified speakers. We may belong to organizations, but we're not accredited. Right. What about that as far as coaching? How do you feel about that? Should you be accredited? Should you be certified?
I teeter with that back and forth. I still teeter with it today, because some people say you don't, and some people say you do. If you're going into a corporate space, unless you have a lot of contacts and many resources, you may want to be certified, because they look for certification in corporate America. Corporate America is about checking those boxes.
Yeah, that's true too, in corporate.
But as far as the speaking, I felt initially, because this wasn't something that I set out to do, that I need coaching. And I called up one of the top speakers in the world, and he became my coach for a period of time. And now we're friends.
Who?
Les Brown.
No way! I love that guy.
Yeah,
oh my God. Sorry, little flip out moment.
I call him Pops. I call him Pops, and he taught me a lot in a short period of time. And I'm still learning by going back over our audios that we shared. But I teeter with that because I'm able to get into some doors without being certified. You know, it just I've just been blessed with the gift that I build relationships pretty quickly. But it's something I'm still pondering if I want to do in the future, and I still may, just to have that behind my name.
So I want to say one thing and then throw it to Howard before he goes away. My very first motivational audio was Les Brown, Live Your Dreams, and I played it in a cassette player.
Oh boy.
And I was in fifth grade. Okay. Fifth grade. So yeah, that's fantastic. Howard, we were just talking about credentials. Do they mean anything? Are they worth something? I mean, I think they're always worth something. That I shouldn't have said that. But I've had a lot of people really fight and be resistant and say you shouldn't coach if you're not certified. Yet my own personal coach, I never knew that until after I worked with him, and the man taught me how to move into a six-figure income because he had sold for so many years and then trained with David Nagel. What are your thoughts?
I think that I don't think anybody should be inhibited by their lack of credentials or the credentials that they have. I think that you could be credentialed and still not be successful, and you can be not credentialed and be successful. I think that credentials they play a role, especially when it comes to selling and perception. They play a big role with a certain group of people, but I would never say to anybody like, you can't speak or you can't coach because you don't have the right credentials. That's like saying, I can't show you how to ride a bike. We're all humans and we all need to be helped, and we're all coaches in some form, in some way. We're all speaking to each other. You know, we all have something to give. Everybody is good at one thing that nobody else is good at. So that's how I see it.
Joe Gerard says, for me, I consult, train, speak, mentor, lead, and each has its own purpose. Bottom line, you have to help people. Joanne from No Fuss Accounting has a great question, and either one of you can jump on this. I'd love to hear it from both of you. Can you speak to the difference between coaching and consulting, or what a mentor is? I'm going to let Joe in. Don't be a troublemaker, Joe. I got my dukes up. Howard, do you want to answer? Pasha? What's the difference between coaching and consulting or mentoring? Hi, Joe. Welcome.
Hey, how's it going?
I think that with consulting, my experience with consulting was on the corporate level, and it's more, as far as that's concerned, more training where you're going in and you're training people. For me, coaching, for my personal experience, is that one-on-one, or even if it's in a group setting, it's more intimate. And it's a thing that you stay with that person or with that group for a little while. I think with consulting, you can revisit that corporation, you can revisit that company. But to me, coaching is just more intimate for me. I'm not sure if that's other people's experience.
There's no wrong answers here. Yeah, it's your perception. Howard, what would you say?
I agree. I would say the same thing, pretty much verbatim. Consulting is where I'm going to give you, for me, I'll just put it simply, I'm going to tell you what to do, and I'm going to let you do that. Pretty much, you ask for my advice. I'm going to give you a few things. Coaching is more like, I'm more involved saying, step by step by step, adjust this, adjust that. Okay, adjust this, adjust that, adjust this. It's more of a real-time type basis. And I think mentorship is kind of more distant. That's how I look at it, as being a little bit more distant, and you're kind of just,
you're there when they need you. It's like
you're there, right? Yeah.
So, what do you say? What's the difference between coaching and consulting? What's a mentor? You mentioned all three.
They all have different roles. You guys can hear me, yeah? I just signed up for Blab like 30 seconds ago when I found this.
It's the best.
Awesome. I have a call for a client.
It is awesome.
I'm just going to ignore that because this thing's so cool.
I hope they're not on here.
No, they're good.
Well, welcome to Speaker Pro. We appreciate you.
Yeah, so I mean, they all play a different role. Like I go out and do a lot of speaking, a lot of workshops, and through that speaking, I land consulting clients. And the consulting client, we have a conversation and say, what are you trying to do? What in your business are you trying to make a change? And so we bring in insights, we educate, and we say, okay, here's our consulting program. Here's what I know, and here's what our team can do to be able to help make changes in your business. Now, in that consulting project, we might do an aspect of training where it's me sharing ideas and helping their team understand some concepts, and then they go out and do the homework and put it to action. But then somehow I listen to calls and sales calls and I go, we're missing something. You know, they're just sounding like I call it sales weirdo, where they're just like, they're not they're not true to themselves. So we then move some of those conversations into coaching, whether it's group or individual, and say, okay, what are you guys really feeling here? What are you thinking? And asking questions rather than, you know, me telling them what to do. It's the questions that coaches ask that bring the best out of people so they get their own aha moment, because there's too many times that people, you know, act like the sage on the stage where it's like, I have my own personality and frame of reference, and I'm just going to tell you what you need to do. But coaching is, there's something in them that you need to try and get out. And then the mentor is, you've done it before. That's and they're coming to you for advice. And so all of those, you know, as when I was in management and leadership roles, that's, you had to be all of those, but each one had its own purpose at the right time. And so to get the most out of people, that's what you need to be working on.
That's a great breakdown.
His answer was so much better than mine.
I need to write this down. Write it down real quick.
Well, you know, we have these perceptions. That's why I love the 3 different point of views, but you all kind of said the same thing. Coaching is, you know, I did some hardcore business coaching for a few years in a row, and you have to have, this is my opinion, extreme patience to do it, because you're leading someone into a space they've not been before. That's the space of, you know, I was a speaker that was learning how to become a coach, and I had this certification. Oh, look, it's on my wall. Now what? So I had to go out and find a coach that could teach me how to be a coach and then how to sell that. Can you talk a little bit about what your process was like? Here you are, a speaker. Let's say you started as a speaker. Pasha, that was you. I don't know if that was you, Howard. Did you start as a speaker?
No.
He doesn't want to talk to us. Joe, did you start as a speaker?
I think everybody starts as a speaker. You just start saying things, and if it resonates with somebody, then you're like, hey, do you eventually, will you give me some money to say more of this? That's what it is. So whether it's on stage or one-on-one, you're essentially speaking. And I do podcasts and all this recording, and you start going back to like, what am I talking about? So everybody kind of starts as a speaker, an audience of one or an audience of hundreds of thousands. And so, you know, I just used to get up and say things, and you're just looking for people nodding and going, yeah, that helps me. That resonates with me, and that makes sense. And so then you say, how do we take this offline, or how do we do it individually? How do we work with teams? But, you know, I still go and do speaking, and all that speaking then leads to people going, let's have a deeper conversation, right?
Yeah. So Danielle makes a great point here. And I just want to say I did start as a speaker, and then had this certification, didn't know what to do with it, and then learned how to merge the two. So it's interesting to see how other people perceive how it grows. I know personally, I want to coach less and become more of a speaker and just consult people. So consult them on how to find and create paid speaking opportunities. So it's interesting how we shift. Danielle Eaton says the question of certification is a hot topic for me. Yeah, I think it's a hot topic for a lot of people. And maybe when I was in a place before I had one, or, you know, like I said, the guy who coached me, he coaches people all over the world, and he knows what he's doing. So what makes a certification different? How does it give someone more value, I guess, is the question. And does it give them more value?
I think that with certification now, because so many people are going into coaching, I think that's what makes it a hot topic, is because now it's a hot platform. So many people are becoming life coaches. So now people are looking for those certifications to give you, for you to have those credentials to say, okay, well, yeah, you've been through the training, you know what you're doing. And I think before you didn't really have to have that. You just had to show and prove. So now it's like one of those topics. Well, do I need it, or don't I need it? Because like we talked about, Les Brown, yeah, he's a top speaker and he's a multi-million-dollar guy, but he still coaches and he has no certification, right?
Yeah,
experience.
Totally.
Yeah.
I have a friend of mine.
Go ahead, Joe.
She's like in the top level. She's a master level coach, and so she's certified, you know, all over the world to be able to do these things. She works with big organizations, and we have all these sorts of conversations where I never got certification on it, and I almost feel like, if I get the certification, does that diminish the way that I'm doing things? Because now I'm in a framework. But anything that you want to get good at, you should have some kind of a framework that you follow where you can create best practices. I live in Victoria in Canada on the island, and it's the place where people come to become coaches. They just like, we want to come to the island. Everyone wants to coach everybody. And so, but I also see there's a lot of coaches out there that really are just there. They're charging by the hour and they just want to say stuff, but they're not really trying to figure out how am I going to improve this person's life. They're almost doing it for themselves. And so if you're going to be a coach, if you're going to be a consultant, you have to go and say, if this piece of paper helps me improve my customers' lives, then I'm going to get it. You know, for me, I've toyed with the idea of getting certified because I really love understanding frameworks and methodologies, and it's really valuable. But as long as that framework's going to help my clients do better for themselves and help me be a better coach, then that's the way to go, right? And I do have to jump on this client call. So.
Well,
thanks, guys. That was fun.
Thanks so much for joining us, Joe. Bye. Howard, I want to actually, oops, are you sure you want, no, cancel. I don't want to, one time I restarted a blab and it was a mess, so I'm not touching it.
Wow.
So as far as, you do a lot of coaching, and the coaching that you do, at least what I see, is you are like crazy about these Facebook ads, which I'd rather stab myself in the eye than build a Facebook ad. What is the there's a learning curve on that. When you're working with other coaches and consultants, is there resistance, especially because those ads are so unpredictable?
A lot of resistance. There's a lot of resistance. There's a lot of resistance around, because it's unfamiliar territory for people. People are usually used to word of mouth referrals. They're used to getting, their clients from other means. And what usually comes up, of course, is the topic of money, right? Because now we have to spend money to get this ad out here. And it's kind of Facebook has kind of made it like a mandatory thing for a lot of people and most people. If you don't have a big following, or, you have to boost this post and it's going to cost you at least $5. At least that's what most people do. So yeah, there's a lot of resistance because we're used to not having to pay to get our message out there. So I deal with that a lot, and it can be frustrating. And that's, whatever they may have come to me for, right? They may have come to me for Facebook ads, but I usually wind up coaching them around money, around their fear, around, hey, do you believe enough in your message and you're speaking to invest in filling these seats or, promoting this product or service? So it's a very, very big thing.
Yeah. So Michael, did you have a question? Welcome.
Hey, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I speak to a very specific needs. Can you pull up my profile?
Maybe I can after, Michael, but we're gonna. Do you have a specific question?
Yeah, I do. My niece is I speak to a very specific needs. I
Yes.
speak to the customer service industry. How do I get to the HR people?
How do I get to the, say that again, the what people?
HR people.
Oh, wow. Great question. Yeah, I don't know. Do either one of you anybody have any feedback on that? So you're talking about, Michael, when you want to speak somewhere, how do you get to that? How do you get to the person that would schedule you or something? Yeah, we can answer that question. Absolutely. Okay. We're going to do that. We'll do that right now. Thanks, Michael. You're welcome. So you too, but stay with us. Stay with us. Okay. Right, so getting to his question is getting to the gatekeeper, getting through the gatekeeper. So when you want to speak somewhere, and he's using, and then it could be HR, it can be so many different titles. How do you get through that particular person? Michael, it can be difficult, and this is my opinion, and then I'll pass it on to the others. There are organizations I have reached out to where I'm in the third year, and people might think that's a little much, but you have to remember that some of these organizations have events that happen once a year, maybe twice a year. So reaching out to them every year is not necessarily a lot, but there has to be a lot of touches. So I may start with an email introducing myself, and there's a link in that email where they can see my 2-sheet. I may follow up with a phone call 2 weeks later. After that, I may send another email. After that, I may send a postcard or a letter. After that, I may show up at their door with an AK. No, that I would never actually do that. But there's a lot of touches that are involved. So What I would do is when I'm looking at associations, and I've shared this resource a lot, you can go to, I think it's, let me see how you spell this. This might help you, Michael, and other people that are on here. Here it is, WEED like David, LES.com. It is Weedle's Association, and what that does is that particular website leads you to associations all over the country and the world, and associations always utilize speakers. And on that, you can find the website, and you can also find the person that you need to contact. Joe says, definitely stay in touch with HR professionals. Help them with resources and insights that enable them to succeed. They will ask for your advice. They are 100% awesome for championing you to decision makers. That's a great point. I appreciate that, Joe. Thank you. It can be hard. There's no one person. When I started targeting colleges, I was very naive. I'm like, okay, who's the party planner?
Who's the party planner?
Yeah, who's the party planner here at the college? I need to show up as a keynote. And so HR could be so many different titles depending on that organization. It takes some work, but that's a great question. We all want to know the party planner. I know.
Right.
Wouldn't it make our lives easy? All right, so moving back to pro speakers and coaching, can you have one without the other? When you're a speaker and you want to start coaching and you don't have a certification, you're just an expert in your field, or you've got a really powerful message, how does someone begin? So for those out there that have that question to say, I think I would be great at because I speak on, how do they begin that?
I have to go first. Oh, wow. So I began by utilizing my resources, people who have already been doing it, and having those people become my mentors. I believe in networking. If it's someone you need to get to, do your best to get to them, because I believe that, no amount of phone calls can replace experience. So if someone's already experienced in that field, then I'm trying to get to them, especially if I have people that may know them. Outside of that, it's just you have to have faith in what you do. And I also started to be more present on the internet, where I did videos. I posted videos and started putting content out there to let people know that I know what I'm talking about. And so that also gives you some form of professionalism or some credentials as well, as far as coaching. That's how I started mine.
Yeah. Yeah. How about you, Howard? Howard knows a lot of stuff.
He wants me to go first.
I wanted you to go first because, I'm just learning.
Learning. I mean, that's why I created this. It's all good. It is just learning. Yeah. Yeah.
So I'm really like just go ahead and do it. I'm go ahead and do it. And so for me, usually a lot of the people who come to me, they're going to,
lose Howard.
Come on,
he doesn't
Howard.
love me. That's what this is about. I'm going to let Nathan in until Howard gets back. I think Howard's in Texas. He was in Los Angeles. I think he's in Texas. Not that it has anything to do with it, because
we have good reception in Texas.
Yeah, we have good. You and I have good reception right now. I'm trying to let Nathan in, and Nathan's not coming in either. But Erin from the Starters Club is here. She's in Texas. It's not a Texas thing. It's just Howard needs to behave and get better reception. So, so Pasha, here you are in this speaking and coaching entrepreneurial
and that
adventure.
It is.
What do you find, at least at this point in the game? People love the word balance, and I fight against the word balance because I think that balance could look like so many different things, so it doesn't really exist kind of thing. We try to make sure we can do both. Do you find that sometimes you're speaking more than coaching, or have you learned how to balance them so you have just enough clients and you can still dedicate your time to getting on stages?
No, I have not learned how to balance. With me and this career of mine starting not long ago, I do more speaking than coaching. And I present myself and put myself on the platform of speaking just so that I can gain more coaching clients. However, I don't want to be this person trying to coach too many people when I can travel around the nation and around the globe, speaking to people and encouraging them. I think that beyond that, and this is a little bit off subject, then it becomes more product development so that I can help more people outside of the stage. So I want to, in many ways, my goal is to limit my coaching anyway, so that I can spend the amount of time that I need to with my clients. I don't want to be just in and out of clients' lives if they need me.
Coach Jenny says, I'm in the opposite situation. This is what happened to me. I was speaking and I started coaching, and it became all I was doing. And I realized I was losing track of what I really, really wanted to do. That's why I thought this blab would be very interesting, because I think a lot of speakers / coaches / whatever order you want to put those words in, find themselves in this space where, I know for me, I want to speak more. And you talked about creating products. I love that. That's the space I'm also moving into. There's audios out there, there's books out there, there's ebooks out there, there's study courses out there. I never had that stuff. I've been 6 years into this game as a coach and speaker, 16 years as a speaker, but doing them both. And I have found that I'm cycling into that space where I'm limiting the coaching, and these products are here to help people because I really just want to get on those stages.
Right.
And use
and you
my
have
voice.
So much content in your head that you don't even think about, that other people genuinely need, that you can put out there. So products are huge.
Yeah. Yeah. And you're working on those now. So are you in that space what kind of products do you have?
I'm
Talk to us
working on
about
those
that.
products. So some of them I can talk about and some of them I can't. But right now I'm working on my book, which I hope to have published by January. So it just tells my story of struggle to strength, and then just give people the practices that I utilize to help me get into this space, to help me step out of my fears and to become who I am right now.
Mm-hmm.
So that's one of the products that I'll have. I'm looking at some form of affirmation cards as well, because I see affirmation cards out there, but I have a different way that I affirm myself. And that's one of the things I speak about when I am speaking empowerment, especially to women, is learning how to affirm yourself. So affirmations. And then I have a few other products that are ideas right now that I'm working on. So we'll see how that goes. Yeah.
Yeah. Dr. EJ, great guy, by the way. If you're not following him, follow him. I've had him on a couple. He's very intelligent and remarkable to talk to. But he says books are the #1 asset for speakers. And I think I agree. And what I had done, and I want to get another blab going. So for the people in this room, if this is you, this is what I need from you. I need speakers that have published ebooks. Speakers that have published ebooks, because I want to do a future blab on how powerful that ebook can be. I published two in June. And I don't market them as much as I should. I just started blogging, so I'll have the opportunity. But it's really fun to wake up once a month and you look in your checking account and there's this cash from Amazon because I've written these ebooks and it pits you as an expert. So you're welcome, Dr. E. So anybody that is a speaker in this room or knows a speaker that has written and published an ebook, please message me on Twitter. I'm talking to one. I've published several. I can't get you in here, Nathan. So with multiple, then I'd want to definitely talk to you. Game changer, saw things change. So Aaron of the Starters Club, Aaron, you want to pop in for a second? This would actually be, Aaron just wrote a book called what is it called? I can see the cover. It's got the light bulb. Damn it. Master the Start. I'm going to beat myself. Master the Start. Aaron of the Starters Club, she's going to pop in. She's actually hosted me on a blab, and she's had me on her podcast, and she's had me on Periscope. She's been awesome to me. But she can speak to that. And I think that's really powerful when you have the ability to publish a book and it pits you as the expert. That's one of the first things that I did. I didn't know how. I just did it.
You did it. Okay.
And I just did it. I just said, I want to write a book. And I did some research. And Nathan, I did one JV several years ago with the Core Corp, and that book sold over 11,000 copies on the back channel. Yeah. Yeah. So it's something that's real. I mean, and here's the thing, no matter what space you're in as a speaker or a coach, you're never in the wrong space. And I think a lot of people, and again, another reason why I wanted to do this subject, think that if they're a speaker, they've got to be a coach, or if they're a coach, they've got to be a speaker. And then you've got to speak here, you've got to speak there. And it becomes this, you chase yourself into circles. And I think someone had said you have to follow your passions and do what falls in line with you. Dr. E, I have several clients we market who are trainers, speakers, and best-selling authors. We use the books as leverage for getting them on stages.
I think that you have to follow your passion, because that's one of the things we speak about as speakers, especially myself. And it's about finding that purpose and finding that passion. And if your passion is not to coach, then why are you doing it? You know, you're selling something that you don't even have a passion for. So I think it's about finding that thing, just like we talked about products. Well, there are some products out there that are internet based that I don't have a passion for. So it would do me no good to try to jump into that space because it's not something that I find myself doing at this point in my career. I see myself. Yeah.
Awesome. Yeah. Yeah. So Erin, new author,
Yes.
Erin.
Hello.
Welcome. So your book, what is it? 2 weeks?
No, it's
3
been a
weeks,
month
4
now,
weeks?
September 1st. I know.
Wow.
Thank you very much.
Yeah. So talk to us a little bit about how you got it out there and how it served you.
I mean, so I was like Jolene, I just said, I'm going to write this book. And what's funny is it's such a head game though. Like it was, okay, I'm almost there, but it's not good enough. I can't release it, all this stuff. And it's amazing though. I finally got over the hump. I finally did it. I finally put it out to the world. So I did a print version using CreateSpace. And then I self-published, did the ebook version using just Kindle, and then uploaded it, still trying to get it to Nook. Nook's kind of a pain in the butt, I'm not going to lie, but got it to Apple too. And one thing I would say is get your audio version done too. I'm working on that. I wish I would have gotten it done first because I know I could have sold more when I had the momentum of the book, and a lot of people are asking me for the audio version, and I've just got to get it done. So I wish I would have done that, but it's amazing how things change, especially when you're trying to get speaking engagements and everything. When you've got that author, best-selling author, because I hit #1 in several different categories on Amazon, people just look at you differently. And like Dr. EJ saying, you've got that extra sell, you've got that extra piece. And I think to Pasha's point of wanting to help people, you now have that $5, $10 way to help people. So the I can't afford it excuse is no longer. Like if they truly want to do what you're helping them do, you don't have to feel guilted into free coaching or whatever, because you've given them that option, to sell. So it's just because I don't want to deal with, from a coaching perspective, I want to help people. But like Jolene and I have talked about this before, I don't want to deal with, I just, this TV show was on and I just couldn't help. So I didn't get my stuff done. It's like, okay, I don't relate to you. You're like, do something, you know what I mean? Like you're just making excuses. So it just allows that whole kind of point where you can truly take on the clients you want. And if somebody is really ready, maybe they're going to read their book and get, motivated. So it's just, it's you hear about it. And just from what I saw, it's truly changed. I was talking about the book on a Periscope, and I'm working with a guy right now at UNLV. He's like, you need to come, to the students at UNLV. You want to come speak out here? I'm like, yeah. Let me think on that. So it's brilliant. Just so many ways you can leverage it.
That's beautiful. Erin, I want to be able to, because I want to do a future blab on how books serve other speakers. So I'm going to talk to you later about joining me. I know there's some other people too that have messaged me, and I appreciate that. Dr. EJ says KDP is a great platform to start on. That's what I started on. But I don't want to sway from the subject either, because this is all stuff that I definitely want to dig into. But Erin, because you and I have talked about speaking and coaching extensively, you just brought up a great point that I want to talk about. And I think other people in the room can speak to this, or it resonates with you. When you are coaching so much, or you hit a point where you just recognize, we call them tire kickers, that there's just some people that aren't coachable. That doesn't make them wrong. It doesn't make us wrong. It just happens to be, or we're not a match. Do you find with what you do, because you're a serial entrepreneur, you have lots of different things going on. You've had other companies. You're an author now. You're a speaker. You've got this podcast. You show up, at least in my eyes, everywhere. And I think that is magnificent. Do you find that coaching is something that you no longer need to hang on to and that speaking is growing as a result?
Yeah, my thing is I rely very little on speaking for any income. I want to work with like people who are really, I don't want to be forced to take on somebody that's a tire kicker or whatever, because I feel like that's almost like working in corporate America type of thing. You know what I mean? Like you're not doing something you love. And I didn't make coaching a primary part of my business because all my previous businesses were either I had to hire people. It was time for money trade. So I've always hired people to do the work for me, which is great, but it gets exhausting. And so I really wanted a career that I could do my own thing. I could write my own. And to me, if I'm going to trade time for money, I'd rather stand up on a stage and talk versus having a whole day consumed of phone calls, if that makes sense. So that's why I've positioned myself in the way that I have, because I didn't want to have to rely on that.
So Danielle Eaton says, Aaron, this is also what has been holding me back from one-on-one coaching.
Oh, yeah. It's because I've always had the dilemma too. Like I'm not there as a speaker yet. Like I'm slowly growing. I have like 5 speaking engagements this week. It's kind of crazy. But
that's awful.
But I'm working on it. But the thing is too, like I think it's so important to know your priorities, because what happens if you book, like you were saying, Jolene, you get so booked up coaching that you're not working on building your speaking career? Or what happens when you get a speaking opportunity of a lifetime, but you've got 4 coaching clients booked? You know, I think it's important to fill in as needed, but really keep your eye on the prize of what you truly want to do. Because if you get so consumed in, well, I'm making money, but you're not enjoying it and you're not working towards what you really want to be doing, I think it can be a catch-22.
Pasha, you were going to say?
I agree with that totally. Totally. I just want to travel as much as I can and speak to as many people as I can and encourage and empower them. So that's the most important thing for me.
Yeah. So I resonate with both of that, especially Coach Jenny talks about her one-on-one, but Danielle said, holding me back from one-on-one. I think it's just something when you step into it, you learn what you can handle. You learn how much you can take and what you want to take. And that's how good coaching grows. I think that's how a good coach develops, because they don't have an ego. Well, I mean, we all have a level of an ego, but we recognize it to say, okay, this is not working in this element. This is not the way I want to do it. This is how I want people to see my worth. This is what I want to be able to teach. Because when I started, I was coaching everybody because I thought I could. You know, I had the ability. I could do that. And I had, sometimes 12 clients, one-on-one clients a month. And that was a lot. That was a lot for me. And what was happening is the money spoke louder. It was an incredible lesson that I learned, and I learned it the hard way. So I have learned that at least for me, I don't mind, and I want to coach those few like you, Aaron, that are ready and willing and eager to learn. But the rest of my time, I definitely want to dedicate to being on the stage and to speaking. Dr. EJ says, this is my strategy for coaching. Coaching is a top-tier product where you hand select 1 to 3 clients to work with in a year. Clients are highly screened, and the selection process is rigorous. Yep. And speaking into my point, it took me 5 years to get to where Dr. EJ is saying. And Coach Jenny says, I love my one-on-one coaching. My clients are amazing, but I've been doing it for years, and I'd like to augment my income with speaking. Then as a coaching client ends the coaching agreement, I won't have to replace them. That's where I am, Coach Jenny. That's exactly where I am. And again, why I wanted to create this blab, because I'm recognizing a lot of coaches / speakers / whatever fill in experience this. When I started as a speaker, I needed to supplement my income because I wasn't getting 5 gigs in a week. That's a lot, by the way. That's great.
Wow. It's too much. It's too much. And I'm not getting paid for them. So that's like, these are like the hustle speaking engagements.
Yeah.
So
where you could sell
I'm not standing on a high horse saying I've got 5.
Yes, I hear you though. But I mean, they come out loud and clear. So for Coach Jenny, she's hit that point where I think, this is my language, matured enough in her coaching, that piece to understand what she wants and what she can deliver and what that's going to look like and how it's going to best serve someone that's paying her. Because I know when I pay a coach, and I paid a coach that did not work out well, and I've paid a coach that has just taken my business to incredible levels. Coach Jenny has a question. One-on-one question, but important. What is the first things we need to do to put ourselves out there as a professional paid speaker? I have an answer, but one of you two go first.
I'll let Pasha go because she's got better training than I do. Mr. Les Brown.
Did you know that? Yeah, with Les Brown, do you know she spoke at WNBA?
I heard that
you're so humble, too, Pasha. We love you. Anyway, go ahead.
Question. First thing to put yourself out there is, well, the first way I put myself out there was through volunteering. So I contacted organizations that aligned with my vision and with my speaking, and I just kept calling them until I got in. And when I did that, what happened was I started to build that relationship and then started to get audio and video out of it. So if they couldn't pay me and I didn't have a product, then I said, would at least give me video so that I can utilize that to market myself to other speaking engagements or to other organizations that can pay me. So I'm still doing a lot of that, just like you are, Aaron. But now I can say, well, can I bring in a camera if they don't have one? And if they have one, then that's how I utilize that volunteership to go out and have like a speaking reel and stuff like that to promote myself to other people.
Very smart. Very smart. Aaron, how about you?
Yeah, I think to that point, I was going to say, like, really just speak where you can and get that video. I've created I don't promote it much, but I do have like a speaker website where you can get pictures, you can get videos, you can see speaker reel, you can see what I talk on. I needed to get a better one, but like a one sheet that you can start sending to people. So you just have those pieces in place. So when you do start saying, I want to get paid, you look like you know what you're doing. But you can send them to specific places. I guess my question though to bounce off Jenny is like the Starters Club is where my audience is, where you can see I do have an audience and all of that, but it's always hard as if you have a business and you want to be a speaker, where do you point them to? Because if they looked at Aaron Smith, they wouldn't see much following, but the Starters Club has a bigger following. And I know a lot of them will book based on, your audience too. So that gets to be a bit tricky too on the place to send them to start identifying your own name versus your business name. I don't know. It's kind of a question versus an answer.
Yeah, I actually spoke with a speaker recently. We had a telephone conversation and he recommended, because that was a question that I had, that if you want to pitch yourself as a keynote speaker, so we're not selling anything, we just want to be a keynote speaker, that you have to have a website that speaks directly to that.
Okay.
Yeah, so as far as that's what he told me. And I started to rebuild my website that way, but intuitively, I still felt like I wanted to have both pieces. And it's something I still struggle with myself. So when I put myself out there, I'm directing them to jolenemoody.com. And the first thing they see is that I'm a keynote speaker. If they dig a little more, they'll see that I teach too. So, yeah, that's a great question though. It is a great question. And let me go back to this. Coach Jenny, what's the first thing we needed to put? I'll answer that if I can. I'll put my 2 cents in. The first thing we need to do. I totally agree. The one sheet, if you don't know what one looks like, Google it. Find other speakers' websites. They have them. It's your picture. It's a brief bio. It's where you've spoken. It looks shiny and pretty and everybody loves it. The video, shoot yourself on your laptop if you need to. Get someone to shoot it for you. I have a gig coming up on the 15th. And I always shoot myself. And this time I said, no, I want somebody else to do it for me. So I can really focus on what I'm doing. And when you have, there's lots of things that you can have in place, but as far as where they are, I mentioned this website. This is my favorite resource to offer people. I just posted it in the comments. Did it not post?
Nope. There it is.
I'm trying to post a link. I can see myself.
There it is.
Oh, did it come up? So that, Jenny, is where I went, and I was just talking about that earlier in the blab. It is just lined with websites that are associations that need speakers. Start here. Click on those links. Go to the website. Start searching. Look for the event. Now, when you find the event, look for a space that says speaker submissions. Click here. Be like a little investigator. Click there, and all of a sudden you'll discover what they're asking for, and you'll find the more you go into this process, they all ask for the same thing. It's a different color, it's a different size, some want a bigger bio, some want a smaller bio. But just start there and send one in. And this is how I did it. And I even had a coordinator reach out to me and say, this is nice, but I need A, B, and C, which taught me what other tools I need. And I'm going to be brave and bold and direct you to my website. I have an ebook that is titled How to Find and Create Paid Speaking Opportunities. Go directly to my website. You can opt in for a free excerpt. You can buy the book for $4, but it tells you all the different places you can go to find these speaking engagements and what tools you need. But the 2-sheet and the video, those are beautiful things to have if you don't have a website. So that's a really great question. I missed all these messages. Get back of heads.
Yeah.
I do that. You know what, Aaron? I'm glad you said that. I gave someone a picture today. They're like, why do you always give me a picture of the back of your head and the audience? I'm like, so it looks like they can see me. They can see me speak into a room.
Yeah. Or I even had, like, if you're filming from the back, somebody told me to angle it. Even if there's 3 people in the room, get the angle so it looks like there's people in the room.
Yeah.
So, it just gives you a little bit more. If you don't have that, then use, like what Jolene was saying, talk to your computer. But if you have that where you've spoken to an audience, get some video of that so people can see that you've actually stood up in front of an audience too, and you're comfortable in that from that perspective.
And if you've only got 3 friends, and yeah, I'm going to say this, and yes, people have done it. If you've only got 3 friends, set it up so you see the back of their little heads and you doing your thing. You've got to start somewhere. 70% fake it until you make it. You have it in you.
Can I piggyback off of that a little bit too?
What? Yeah. Let's say hi to Dr. EJ first.
Hey, how are you? How you doing? I can't resist. Every time Jolene's online and I happen to catch her, I have to just come in and say hello.
I'm glad you do. I appreciate it.
Just a couple of things I want to say, and then I'm going to jump out, is one of the things that all of the great points that you guys have brought up about new speakers and what they should do to get started. Here's a thing that I've encountered with clients of mine who happen to be new speakers. Developing, like what Pasha was talking about, content and products. So here's a really quick and easy way you can do that. Every time you're in front of an audience, record it. Always record it. It can be repurposed. It can be repackaged. You can take the audio recordings, have it transcribed, and then create products out of them.
Oh, wow.
So that's a quick, easy way to do it. Second way, if you're brand new and you're just getting started and you don't really have a platform or a place to speak, create what I call a micro event. With just drag your friends and family into a room and speak to them. Record that, and then repackage that content for marketing purposes, develop other products out of it, create transcriptions from it. And what we're doing now with some of our clients is taking their old videos, transcribing them, and actually creating books, and then making those books bestsellers. So
wow,
a strategy to think about so that you're leveraging all of the assets that you have as speakers and utilizing those to, for leverage and marketing. So that's all I really wanted to say. I just didn't want to type all of that.
No. Oh, that would be. Thank you. I appreciate it. That's great advice because everyone we're shaky on where to start. Pasha, do you want to add anything?
I have a few things to add to that. One of my first videos was when I went to open mic actually, and I ended up getting the applause in there and that kind of stuff, and I utilized Instagram for that. So now even when I speak, if it wasn't great video or something, I use the 15 seconds excerpts of it and I'll put it out there on Instagram if I don't have a whole video to put out there for somebody to see it, like that can create a reel. So I utilize that platform so people can see maybe a part, like an aha moment within my speaking. And then I send them to either YouTube or to my website as well. Another thing is, sometimes when you're recording, you may be using your iPhone or something like that, or someone's using an iPhone. They have microphones that you can buy that you can clip on that goes into your iPhone where you can record that audio when someone else is videoing you. So that when they're videoing the audio, you can use that audio. That'll be great audio. The video may not capture great audio from them standing back in the back of the room if they don't have the proper equipment. So if you can just buy a $25 mic that plugs into an iPhone or some type of recording device, then you have great audio that you can add to your video without so much editing, where you can maybe do it on your own Mac, which I do. a lot of the times that have helped.
You know what I love about all of this is there's no excuses here. You're figuring it out and you're doing it. And that's what everyone else has to recognize, that the reason I do this blab is we gather ideas. They're not the final answer. Everybody has their way of doing things, but I'm pointing to you, woman. It's things like that. That's how you end up making a difference. I had a coach challenge me to make an audio and sell it on my website, and I had 4 weeks to do it. And I did it.
Yeah.
So I sold it. I was actually at an event and I'm like, oh, I've got this audio. It's called this and it's $97. And 4 people bought it. My coach said, now you got to make it. And I chose intentionally to go through with that challenge. And I made my very first product ever. I think it was called The Tiny Space or something like that. And it was 60 minutes of me talking about how to overcome fear in little pieces. And I got that thing done in 2 weeks. Now, I've challenged every single one of my one-on-one clients over the past 3 years. Ask me how many have taken me up on that challenge.
I'd say 5%,
Zero.
Maybe.
Zero.
Wow.
And, you know, I did think, is it something to do with me? And it's not. It's the stories that we create, and we give ourselves reasons why we shouldn't have to do it. And there wasn't enough urgency for someone to take those steps. So I just want to say, I mean, Erin, I know you, and in my eyes, you're very successful. You decide you're going to do something and you do it. Pasha, you're the same way. Howard, I wish he were here. He's the same way. It's evident Dr. EJ is the same way. It's evident this is the only way to do what we're doing in this little world of entrepreneurship, whether we're speaking, coaching, content marketing, blogging. Are we talking about the mindset on the 27th? We are. We're already scheduled, Dr. EJ, on the 27th, so we can dig into all of that stuff. Coach Jenny, you're going to ask our last question. Last question, I promise, she prefaces. Do you recommend I offer one signature talk to get started or offer 3 to 5 talks out the gate? I'll give you my 20-second answer. Start with 1, make it feel really good, then move to 3 to 5. Pasha?
I agree. Just start. That's what I say. Just get started. Take that step.
Erin?
Yeah, I would say start with 1, perfect it, get it rolling, because you don't give people a ton of choices. Just say, this is what I talk about, and because usually when you give them choices, they want you to pick one anyway. So you might as well just pick one. Can I add really quick too to the last question about getting out there? I think we overlook using our networks and telling people we're looking for speaking engagement opportunities and we're really pursuing this. Don't overlook that. Get it out on Facebook. Let people know, let your networks know you're actively seeking speaking engagements, because just by doing that, you never know who's got opportunity. I've had some great conversations with people I've known for a long time, and they didn't know this was something I was really actively pursuing. And I know a friend, Stephanie, I'm actually speaking at one of her events in a few weeks. I mean, she gave me a ton of resources, a ton of contacts, a ton of, go here locally or, wherever. So don't overlook that, because there's a lot of opportunity there that people just may not know that's what you're looking for. So make sure they do.
Well, thank you, Erin. Thank you, Pasha. I really appreciate it. Next week, I want to try to organize for next Tuesday's Blab when we publish a book, when we publish an ebook. And Erin, I'm hoping you're available. I would love to have you. And there's a few others that reach out. If not, it's okay. It's all good.
No, I was just thinking in my head, yeah, because Wednesday I'm like, this month has been crazy. You talk about like actively pushing, like this month is crazy. Wednesday is my speaking engagement,
awesome.
So I'm available
Awesome.
Tuesday.
So look for that, my friends. Thank you, everybody. Thank you to my guests. And we'll see you on Speaker Pro next Tuesday. You guys have a great day.
Thank you.